not only did he tell you exactly, and I don't know if he said this before, not only did he tell you exactly what to give, like for the first fruit, but he also told them how to pray. They had to recite stuff before they gave that first fruit. The same thing with the tithe. When the year of the tithe, which was every third year, when they restocked their gates, God gave them a prayer that they were to pray over their tithe that year. They would tell God, I didn't take from it. I gave as I was supposed to give, and it's within our gates for the Levite, the stranger, the widow, the orphan. And so Jesus tells you how to give to him too.
Okay, this is Matthew 25:34 through 40. Then the king will say to those on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you as a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? Or when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, Assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did it to one of the least of these my brethren, you did it to me. Again, it is about the people. I can't say that enough.
Yep. So every time you give to somebody in need around you, you hear somebody has a burden, whatever it is.
Or go take care of someone that's sick.
You give somebody a shirt. You hand somebody a few bucks to get lunch because they didn't have anything for lunch that day for whatever reason. Anytime somebody has a burden or a need and you feel that need,
you have done it to Christ.
You might as well just walked up to your high priest and handed him a gift. God says, if there's a burden and you can do for that person, you can help them, relieve them of that burden, and you don't, it's a shame.
Yeah. Well, and it's not always about the money, because just like you said, I was sick and you could. Some people are caregivers. If you don't have money, you're a caregiver. If you know someone that is stuck in a house and no one's there to take care of them, and you take them something to eat and, clean up their house a little bit and just check on them, that is just as good as giving someone money.
Right.
Or, like you said,
right. Some people just long for friendship. Just somebody come over and act like they care that they exist.
Right. It's like there is, in any form, if you're taking care of your brethren in any form, whatever you're doing that to
unto
Christ.
The Lord.
Yeah. And that is your high priest.
Right.
And so
I find it odd that Jesus established that.
Right.
But he didn't establish anything about what they're calling the tithe.
Right. Yeah,
he made it clear.
Because the passage, this passage is about end times. Like, because Revelation talks about when he separates the sheep from the goat. This is a conversation he's having with the people.
Right. Because right under that, he's telling these people, welcome to the kingdom. Right. And he's telling the other people,
you didn't do all that.
You didn't do anything, so your reward is
You're
hell.
A goat.
And they're like, when did we see you
when
hungry?
Did we not
when
do
did we
it?
see you naked? We didn't do it.
Well, it's like you're a bunch of greedy people didn't ever help
like
anyone.
With the rich man and Lazarus.
Right.
The rich man, he was all well-to-do. I'm sure he was politicking and everything right up there in the temple,
Right.
thinking he was all that. And what's so funny is he's still in hell telling Abraham to use that Lazarus to feed my tongue.
Right. He's still
I'm thirsty,
arrogant.
and I still think he's beneath me and that he should work for me and do for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he still has.
I did nothing for him on the street, but now in hell I want him to
serve me.
Right. I mean, that's a ridiculous level of pride right there.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people that are like that. They're all caught up in titles and everything else, and they think that they're going to get to heaven through works. And there are works of love like that.
It's not even works. People think they're going to get places because they're entitled.
Right.
Well, there's no way I'm going to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm.
I mean, can you not see that?
I can see that on the rich man.
I can see it on a lot of people.
I mean, I'm talking about in the story.
Yeah, the rich king.
I'm not saying all rich people. I'm saying the rich man in the story.
Right, but I see it like people at work that, they're like, do you know who I am?
I know, like I care. I am to the point in my life, your title does not impress me. No. Your money doesn't impress me. You want to impress me, do something like Jesus just described.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you could be a rich person doing it, and I think, what a great man. Or you could be a poor man doing it, and I think, what a great man. Mm-hmm. Because titles and money are nothing. It is truly about the heart. It's about fellowship. It's about doing things under the Lord.
And the way the country's going now, I have a feeling a lot of those people are going to, what does Proverbs or Psalms say? Before pride, there's a great fall or something. Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction and haughty spirit before a fall. So.
And there's some haughty spirits in the church.
Oh my goodness.
We
really are not church haters. We really are.
No, we're not. What draws me to people is their character. And there are people that it embarrasses me that they go around saying they're Christian. And I can't say that they're not saved. That's between them and God. God knows what they pray about at night. God knows their heart. And they may come off that way, and maybe they're not that way at all. So I can't say who they really are. But when I see things that some do, it embarrasses me because it actually kind of makes me mad, because I think I have heard people say, if that's what a Christian looks like, I don't want nothing to do with it. And I'm thinking, that is not what a Christian should look like.
Right. And you can't say they are or they aren't a Christian, because we're all working on our own stuff. We just can see their stuff.
Right. And it's sad, because I'm sure I've done things that offended people, and I've made God look bad. I'm sure I've done something.
Well, me and you, we are dogmatic in our beliefs, so usually I don't think we offend people, but we surely overwhelm them.
Mm-hmm. I have felt like sometimes people avoid me, and I'm thinking, what is it with me that they act like I'm going to attack them or something, but yet they'll come to me in need, and I'll think, well, I'm not mean, because you wouldn't come to me when you need something. But I'll find out, well, don't tell her, she'll get upset. And I'll think, even if I got upset, what do they think I'm going to do?
Well, they don't want to disappoint. They don't want you to look bad on them.
There's this one girl who cracks me up, because if I'm anywhere in the room, all of a sudden she'll just be saying, Lord's just going to have to help me. God forgive me. And she'll just start saying stuff like that, and I'll think, and people will say she only does that mostly when I'm around. And I'm thinking, I'm not Jesus.
No, but we freely talk about our beliefs.
Yeah.
A lot of people
and not in a pushy way.
No, I'm just saying we'll just talk in general about whatever.
He's part of my life. He's going to come up.
Exactly.
And it's not to be in your face.
And
That's just how it is.
I forget not all people are Christians, because I'll start talking about something, then I'll realize they're looking at me like, what are you talking about?
Right. Because they don't People don't realize it's not a religion. It's a relationship.
It is a relationship.
And when you have a relationship with Christ, he comes up. His word comes up.
It's just like if you're married or have kids and you're in your work
like you're never going to mention your husband or your kids.
Yeah, it comes up.
It comes up, and it's not to judge. It's not, ooh, look at me. It's just a conversation.
Right.
Now, there are people that do that, but I just want to make it clear that's not what we do.
No, we're just talking.
I mean, some people do want to throw it in your face and act like they're all that.
Yeah, but that's
oh, I'm so holy. That kind of, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, and that takes
fake.
way too much effort.
Well, I will show my weaknesses and where I lack just as much as I show how much I think the Word of God is the correct way to go and how it affects my life. Mm-hmm. I'll be the first one to say, I do this wrong, or I mess up, or, I need to work on that. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think people see me that way.
No, I don't think people see me that way either, because they approach me too much. Mm-hmm. People that are, like you said, when they're in need, they come to you. They wouldn't come to you if you were all haughty, and they'd be like, I'm not telling them. Mm-hmm. So we just like to talk. That's our thing. We're just talkers in general.
So when you go into the New Testament, the only time that I found Jesus mentions a tithe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the only time I've
right here in Matthew 23:23. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. So he ain't happy with them. Mm-mm. For you pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin, and have neglected the weightier matters of the law, justice and mercy and faith. These you ought to have done without leaving the others undone. That's 3 foods. Mm-hmm. That's 3 types of food.
Yeah. And see, and here's the thing, they're politicians. Mm-hmm. And priests and they have
scribes and Pharisees.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The scribes and the Pharisees, they got paid. They have coinage, so to speak. They have money. Mm-hmm. But it's still, the tithe isn't out of their salary. The tithe is out of their
garden.
Garden, yeah.
And he's not saying you should have paid your tithes, because he's saying you paid your tithes. Mm-hmm. What Jesus is frustrated that they lack justice, mercy, and faith. Mm-hmm. And what did we say when we went through Malachi? That God said that basically His Son that they're looking for, that He's coming and He's going to be against these people who do things to those. Where is it?
Same time.
Okay, Malachi 3:5, he says, and he's talking about Jesus, and I will come near you for judgment. I will be a swift witness against sorcerers, against adulterers, against perjurers, against those who exploit wage earners and widows and orphans, and against those who turn away an alien, foreigner, sometimes stranger, because they do not fear me. They were warned in Malachi. Mm-hmm. God said, judgment's coming. Clean it up. Mm-hmm. They didn't. Jesus is standing there telling them, oh, you gave your tithe. Mm-hmm. But what about all this other stuff you're doing over here on the side? Mm-hmm. You're mistreating the people.
Yeah.
And so people will look at that. Oh, see, they did pay their tithes. Yeah, first of all, yeah, they paid their tithes. Old covenant law to the Levitical priesthood, they gave mint, cumin, and anise. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but point is, every one of them are a type of herb. Yeah. They're pulling this from a garden, mm-hmm. And they're given into a storehouse, not a treasury.
Right. Yeah.
So, what really is upsetting is people will take that and say you need to give your tithe, but they won't pay taxes.
Jesus talks about paying taxes in Matthew 17:24. When they had come to Capernaum, Those who received the temple tax came to Peter and said, "Does your teacher not pay the temple tax?" He said, "Yes." And when he had come into the house, Jesus anticipated him, saying, "What do you think, Simon? From who do the kings of the earth take customs or taxes, from their sons or from strangers?" And Peter said to him, "From strangers." Jesus said to him, "Then the sons are free. Nevertheless, lest we offend them, go to the sea, cast in a hook, and take the fish that comes up first. And when you have opened its mouth, you will find a piece of money. Take that and give it to them for me and you." So this was a temple tax. This was a tax that they would collect to upkeep the temple. So, but Jesus, in order not to offend them, he pays it. He pays the tax for him and Simon, which is Peter.
So that was a form of a tax that he did pay.
He paid.
Even though he is the son of the God that they're serving, he's going to pay it anyway.
Right. And then
the second one.
The second time he pays taxes is in Matthew 22:17. It says, "Tell us, therefore, what do you think? Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not?" And that's verse 17. But Jesus perceived their wickedness and said, "Why do you test me, you hypocrites? Show me the tax money." So they brought him a denarius. And he said to them, "Whose image is on that inscription? Whose image and inscription is this?" And they said to him, "Caesar's." And he said to them, "Render therefore to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." And so he's telling them, we'll pay taxes. That's Caesar's money. Mm-hmm. It's got Caesar's face on it. So this is two different places where Jesus is saying, pay the tax.
So the church don't pay taxes. Right. They hook in with the government and do a 501c3 and do not pay taxes. But they'll tell you to pay tithes. Mm-hmm. That's twisted.
Yeah.
I don't care how you look at it, it's twisted. Mm-hmm. Because Jesus never told us to pay a tithe. He's our high priest. So it doesn't make any sense if we're the church now and he's our high priest and their temple has been destroyed. Mm-hmm. There's no Levitical priesthood living there. And we've already proved the tithe, the first fruit and all that, it's linked to the promised land, the land of Israel. Right. It has nothing to do with the blood-bought church.
Right. Right. Okay, I'm going to read a couple of scriptures, and these are going to show a couple of points. One, Jesus didn't come to enforce the law. He come to
fulfill it.
Fulfill it. I just kept on saying complete it, but that wasn't the word that he uses. Yeah, he come to fulfill the law, and he come to establish a new covenant.